Let's do this thing. Okay, Google, play music.
Okay, we just found Google Play Music. Here you go.
Okay, Google, 30%. Clean up, clean up. Everybody clean up. Oh my. I gotta change some settings. Well, looks like this one's public. So, this one is supposed to just be for patrons and members, but okay, Google, 20%. But I guess I made it public accidentally, so hey, everybody, how's it going? Oops, better bring it back over here so I can see. Okay, Google, 15%. So I'm going to be working in the shop today, working on the desk drawers. So I'm cleaning up from yesterday's live. It's going to be me puttering around a bit. So, hey everybody. Have you been working out? No. I've been filling out. The last couple months, I was about ready to go on my next cut, and the whole thing with the coronavirus hit, and that got thrown on the back burner. And then we kind of got to the point where we're about to start again, and we set the date to start. My wife and I were going to jump in and get back into running and doing another cut. And then my mother-in-law gets a heart. So yeah, we're having all sorts of fun. And so it's got put off again. So I'm up like 5 pounds from the last 2 months. And my running has fallen off. So not great, but oh well, such is life. Once things calm down a little bit, then I'll get back into working out. First time watching live. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, this was supposed to be private for just patrons, which I do this quite a bit, but I accidentally clicked the wrong setting and made it public. So now everyone got a notification, is allowed to come in. So hey, happy day. You look like you have not adjusted to your new soles. They are higher in the heel as the old ones were worn off, and so they take a bit of time. And I think I'm gonna rub them down a little bit more. Take a little bit of thickness off the heel because I think the heel is just a little bit too tall. So I'm waiting until I get them to where I want them, and then I'm going to attempt putting leather on the soles again. That just makes them a little bit quieter because they are very loud. Very, very loud indeed. Clean up all the excess. Okay, Google, stop. Oh, I gotta move that over here. everyone kind of gets a accidental sneak peek at what the patrons and members get. Hey, hey. Teach me to check my settings first. Okay, so let's see, where did I put my sheets? We're going to be working on all of these stretchers that go in between the legs. So it's going to mean 4 dovetailed stretchers that hold in place. Wow, Netherlands, Ohio, Southwest, Australia, Nashville. Good to have you on here. The pergola is coming along. I have another video to put out for patrons, but I haven't put that out yet, so that should be here soon. I'm waiting until I can get assistance for it because the next step is lifting 300-pound beams up in the air. And I really don't want to do that all by myself. I've come up with a few jigs where I could do it all by myself, but I think I'm going to enlist the assistance of someone else when I can do so. Okay, where did I put my sheet? Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm building a pergola. There it is. On my back patio that is 24 feet by 24 feet by 13 feet. And it will be a lot of fun. Okay. Top stretchers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 4s and 5s. So let's find the 4s and the 5s. 4, 5, 16, 4, 5. There we go. So there's our stretchers. Now we need to cut them to length, square them off, plane them up, and I need to get ready to shoot some videos. So, work on that and that. I'm going to need a non-existent tape measure. There's part of me that really hates making things according to plans. When you make them according to plans, you have to use all these measurements and things, and it really doesn't matter what the measurement is, but when you go with plans, it does. Don't you ever worry about slipping walking around on concrete wooden shoes? No, really not a problem. It's my floor is almost always covered in wood curls, and it's just as slip around wood curls with wooden shoes as it is with rubber shoes. So it really doesn't make that big a difference. There's one spot on the floor over there that's covered in epoxy that every now and then I step on that, it goes whee! But it's really not as bad as you would expect. Okay, so for those of you just tuning in, this is supposed to be a secret video for just patrons, but apparently I clicked the wrong button and it's open to everyone now, so hey, surprise, surprise. I usually do these occasionally for patrons, but today we're working on the dresser drawers, and I'm just shooting footage for the video coming out hopefully on Saturday. So you'll see some of that a little ahead of time. But first thing I gotta do is square up the ends of these. Actually, I think I'm gonna do it with a shooting board, just because it does not get enough airtime. So I like to test things out, and then I'll bring the camera over and actually shoot the footage for it. Where we're at. I haven't actually checked the shooting board in a while. That might make a really good Thursday video, is squaring up a shooting board, because this one needs to be squared up. So for that, actually I'm going to go back to my I don't use the shooting board that much. I find it just to take a little bit too much time in comparison to just doing that. That gives me one good square end, which should be square. Hey, look, it's square. It's square. Happiness. I'm going to take just a hair off of there. One little pass. Or 1.5 little passes. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, no, we'll see. So it's more or less the problem is my mother had a valve transplant, and so she is very susceptible to things going around. My mother-in-law currently is in the middle of a heart transplant, and so she is incredibly susceptible. She has zero immune system, and so if we want to be around our family, we've got to. Here, I got to disconnect this for a minute. We've got to kind of socially distance ourselves so we don't let many people come over and we don't go over many people's places. So that's the way it goes. Okay, so let's do this. You guys are going to see some interesting footage here as soon as it catches, because now I'm actually going to be shooting footage for the flip this around. Okay. Record. Recording. There we go. Recording. Show being done with this. So I often like to show 2 or 3 different ways of doing the exact same thing. And record that. Did it record? Yes, it's recording. On. Now, let's do these. Do this from this angle over here. Right here, okay? Perfecto! And one more. Turn that off. Let's see if there's any questions over here. Just bought myself this Stanley 5, this 1-part mission. What can I do? Don't know what you're asking, sorry. Do you ever wet the end grain before shooting? No. Yeah, because you wet the end grain and you actually change the dimensions because the board will swell on the end, and it's It might hold things together well, but if you have a good sharp plane, there's absolutely no reason to do so. So. Perfecto. Perfecto. And just like that is perfect. And that's why I generally don't pull out the shooting board, because it takes more time to set up the shooting board than it does to just plane 4 up and down. But I like to show the shooting board every now and then. So that'll make a really good video for tomorrow showing how to adjust the shooting board. Because mine needs to be adjusted. So, now, these are all square on one end. Now we need to measure them out and cut them to length. And so I can actually look at plans. I know I made plans for this. Do you ever know? Cool. Yeah, for those of you just tuning in, this is normally just open to patrons on Patreon. But today, I accidentally hit the wrong button and made it public. So everyone gets to see it. So I'm just working on the drawers for the dresser. Just having a bit of fun in the shop and messing around. And you get to come around for the ride. So let's see what we got here. That's not right. Thickness 3.5. Yeah, okay. So length on the short ones needs to be 1'3". Length on the long ones needs to be 1'4.5". Yep, that makes sense. So let's mark these out to 1'3". And I'm actually going to cut one of them in. No, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Normally I'll cut one of them and make the other one match. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and mark them. And then I can plane them down to be exact. And then on these ones, we need to make them 1'4.5". Actually, put the camera out here because I need to shoot a couple clips of that. Always forgetting to shoot footage. 1'4.5". 1'4.5". Let's change angle again. Let's show squaring them off. Let's grab this one. That's my reference side. Reference face. Reference edge. Reference face. Here's my cut line on that one. Let's do that 3 more times. Sorry, what was the question? Can hear your tools banging around but can't hear your voice. I don't know why. I don't have my microphone. Actually, let me go ahead and throw my microphone onto this. Since we're doing this as a public hangout. Might as well. Marcus Felby. Turn this one up a bit. to. You'll get it from all sides then. Microphone. There we go. Now let's get back to work. Let's do one more marking around the board. Just a slightly wider angle. So hopefully you should be able to hear me better now. Let me know if you can. Edge, face, edge, just like that. Stop the recording. So, do the same thing again. 2 more times. It's the fun thing about this is I'll shoot it doing 1 or 2 times, and then there's no reason to shoot more footage as long as I have it. So a lot of what I do does not get shot. Unless you're watching live. There. Now we can cut them. Yay! Happy yay! See if there's any comments. The square footage of my studio is about 200 plus the office space. The actual working space that I do most of the building in is like 80 square feet. So it's not that big, but it's much, much bigger than it used to be. So, get some bokeh on the floor. Record. And this is when I love it, because I can do this. Happiness. So there's one board. Let's do that a few more times. Wake up. There we go. Have you ever done a video or tutorial explaining how to utilize the footprint of a relatively small shop? The best way to use the footprint of a relatively small shop is to use hand tools. There really is no best way. Everyone's different. Some people really like to have a bench up against the wall because it frees up some shop space. I absolutely hate that personally. Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone's gonna have a different method. And when it comes to hand tools in a small space, there is no best way. It's all about your personal taste and how you like things set up. I have a friend who makes furniture in a shop that has 10 square feet. So you don't need much. Yeah, here's an interesting one. Let me zoom in and show you guys this. Anytime you see oak do this, it's actually due to a fungus rot. Let me zoom in. Let me focus out. I'm about to exit. There we go. Anytime you see oak do this, this is not a natural break. This is due to fungus or a rot getting into the wood. And so that's an indication that this particular piece of wood would not be a great structural candidate. But in this case, it's just a stretcher that goes between the two and is not going to cause a problem. But if I was to have this in something structural or something human supporting or a table leg, I would throw this away and get something new. But you see that quite a bit in white oak and even some red oaks. Oop, that's why I'm about to flip it over. I love a good clean saw cut. No need to even plane it. It's ready to go on to the next step. I love eliminating steps whenever possible. James, I know that a few years ago, I know I've been with I have an entire video where I talk about the difference between Western saws and Japanese saws, if you want to see that. I do use both occasionally, but I far more often will use a Western saw than a Japanese saw. I actually put a video out on my second channel, I think this last fall, on Western versus Japanese. So check that out. One is not better than the other. They both have their pros and cons and have different applications. Let's do this. Let's get the shot. So many cables right now. There and focus. No. Do not rotate. Lock the rotate. I said lock the rotate. There we go. Oop, not lock that rotate. There we go. recording? Yes, we are. Here we go. My Veritas saw binds more of the time. Let's see that question a little closer. So what's the next step? Next step is going to be cutting dovetails in those. Yay, dovetails! Oh, my Veritas saw binds more of the time on wood. I don't know what you're saying, man. My Veritas saw binds more of the time on wood. Yeah, sorry, don't know what you're saying. Actually, no, leave this here. I'm going to set up this one so you guys can see a little more about this. Set up my other camera so you guys can get another angle. Give me just a moment here. Okay, that camera's on. We'll switch over to there. That'll give you a different view. So now we need to label these so I know where they need to go. So 5s are the back, right? Back stretcher, top stretcher. Yep. 5s are on the back. 4s are on top and bottom. So let's grab some tape. Why is my tape always gone? Tape is always gone. Put it back. Where did my tape go? Here, tapey, 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 tapey. Here, tapey, tapey, tapey. Oh, it's over in shipping and receiving. Just a minute, I'll be right back. Gotta go to the other room. Yes, JJ? What you got, JJ?
What's that word?
Census.
What's census?
Counting. Don't do that to your cord. JJ, look at all the tangles. Look at all the tangles in your cord. There you go. That's bad. It ruins the cords. So take off your headphone and twist it back. There you go. Human machine was used in a blank to help count people. Ah, the funs of homeschooling. Okay, we're good on there. Good on there. Now, that's the tape. I needs a demarker. Building can be a few. If the saw is binding, there's one of two problems. Either number one, you're twisting in the cut. Usually that's a bad body mechanic, and so your arm is out of line with the saw, and you end up doing one of these things. Or number two, the what's the word I'm looking for? The board itself starts closing up on the joint, and usually the answer to that is get some wax. Where'd my wax go? It's supposed to be there. Having all sorts of fun today. I get some beeswax and I'll rub it on either side of the plate, and that will lubricate it and it will run much, much smoother. But most of the time, the saw binding in the cut is bad body mechanic, unless you see that it's built, that it's connecting up. Yeah, insufficient set sometimes. But that's really, 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 really rare. Most of the time, it's the body mechanic that requires you to have more set, not that you don't have enough set for the particular cut. You can get by with an incredibly small amount of set as long as your body mechanic is right. Cool. So let's do some marking here. Set up the camera for this one. Actually, I'm going to disconnect this cable for right now. That'll make this a little bit faster. Too many cables in my shop. Let's see, 5 are back stretchers, so let's do this one. Top. James, Sarah. Let's zoom in on this one. Record camera caption. Exit you. Focus. This one is bottom. James, Sarah. What camera do you use to film? This is a GH5, and the one you're watching on right now is a GH4. I also occasionally use an Osmo Pocket, and then I have a GoPro up here. I have a few other things, but most of it's done on the GH5 for the videos. Unless Luke is here shooting, and then he brings like $10,000 worth of Canon amazing camera goodness. But I do not have that. He does. When Luke can come, the video quality is always much, much better. You can tell the difference because Luke's shots will do panning and sliding and a lot of other things, whereas my shots are all stagnant on a tripod. I want to buy only Japanese saws. I have too much pain in the... Forgot the English. Okay, so let's do this one. This is the top, and this is James, Sarah, and this is the bottom. When I look at it from the bottom, then I'm going to be looking at Sarah, James. Actually, I'm going to switch that one up because no. Yeah, switch it up so that they're always viewing from the top. Always viewing from the top. Bottom, James, Sarah. Got it. Okay, now let's take these apart. Okay, now I want to line all of these up. So we've got James top, Sarah top. try Sarah top, James bottom, Sarah bottom. And then we're going to put these side by side, and we're going to crush them up at the end, and we're going to clamp them. Why am I on the jack? That's why. So let's show that step. It's always so much faster to build things when not videoing. But you guys like to see things, so we video it. Let me give it a quick clamp. My shop is a mess. Absolute mess. Need to clean it. Alright, let's show quick clamping and squaring it up. Exit. Focus. Record. Now, where do I want those to intersect? That comes down in there. I want those to intersect like over here. So, these ones shorter ones are the back, longer ones are the front. So, let's set these on here. Let's lay out the marking this way then. Focus. Exit. Focus. Set. I want the first one to be, if it comes through here, let's put it like about there. So let's draw that all the way across. That's where that board needs to intersect. Now we can put the board on here. Draw the second point. That's where the other side of the board needs to intersect. Are you a centaur? Yeah, I gotta get some leather on the bottom of these ones. The purple heart is a lot louder than the poplar. The poplar was actually rather soft and controllable. Purple heart is not. Purple heart is loud. Yeah, I get questions every single day on YouTube about why in the world are you just using hand tools? I get that all the time. I tell people it's because I like them. It's just the way it is. Okay. Now, for the next one, I do need a specific measurement. So I'm going to come back over here to the plans. Here, pull up SketchUp. Yeah, and so what you just saw was the entirety of my shop. This is one half, and then turn around to the bench is the other half. That's why I don't do shop tours, because it's just like, there's the shop tour. Hey, I know a lot of people like them, and I'm not a huge fan of them, but everybody's different. Plans. This is the desk drawers. Pull up the SketchUp file. I want to see how far up and down those are from the two ends. Open SketchUp. Okay, pivot around. Let's take a look at this thing. Tape measure down is 3 inches. Tape measure up is 3 inches as well. Okay, cool. That's what I needed. 3 inches. Get that cord out of the way. You guys don't want to see that. So that means I gotta move those 3 inches from the top and 3 inches from the bottom. Let's see. This is Sarah top. This is James top. So that means I need them on this side. This is the side I haven't planed yet, which is not a problem. Let's clear these. I'm gonna rotate them that way. Yeah, that's better. And then adjust them to there. Perfect. Now we're going to mark on these down 3 inches and then measure out. So on this one I need to be careful because I need to have the connection for the electrical that I'm putting in. So I'm measuring to a specific box. Refocus, exit, refocus, record. Now I gotta remember which side is top because I put the labels on the inside. Top is this side. Let's clamp those back together. There. Okay, so bottom, top, put that on there and mark it off, but let's actually go to this, focus again, cord. There. That's where that one will sit into. Sorry, reading up on this. You're on the wrong camera. No, I'm just setting that one up. I'm actually recording footage for Saturday. For those of you watching, this was supposed to be a patrons only feed, but I accidentally clicked the wrong thing and made it public, so everyone gets to see it this week. So this is what patrons get to see from time to time when I open this up. But this camera is actually recording footage for upcoming videos, and the camera you're watching on is just seeing the whole thing. So that is why this isn't a normal weekly live. This is me recording footage for a video. And normally this is only available to patrons and members, those who clicked the join button down below or became a patron. But you get to see it this week, so hey. Cool. Now let's do this end. Since I've already shot that, I don't need to do it again. So this really isn't showing how to, this is just kind of seeing the behind the scenes footage and how things actually come together in the shop. Social network update. So now that I have all the locations marked for the dovetail ends, now I need to actually create the dovetails. Yay, dovetails! The only reason for hand tools, right? right? Yeah. Did I do those little ones? I did. Make sure. Top. Yeah, let's remark that one. That one's remarkable. It's remarkable. Yep, that's one. Just did one wrong. Okay, now on these I need to mark in this thickness. So let's grab a marking wheel and let's set it down to that thickness right there. But let's set up the camera so we can actually shoot footage of setting the thickness. Otherwise I'll get all sorts of questions about how did you set the thickness on your marking gauge? It's amazing how many things, what kind of things people take questions about. Perfect. And looks like I didn't record that. Let's try it again. Perfect. Okay, now let's cut these and mark the end. Before we do that, I'm going to take a shaving off of this board, flush them out just a little bit better. Cut them to the marking line, not to the same things. Just like that. One more. Should get a nice clean cut. Perfect, that's what I'm looking for. Any questions? Is your mic off? I hope you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Hey, how can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. If you can't hear me, then let me know. Otherwise, I've just been talking for the fun of it. So, next footage. Okay, now we need to mark where that goes. So we got that, we got that. Now we need to cut these in. Show putting it in device. Yes, 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 that's good. Sounds like we're getting the sound. You're actually getting the sound from several mics because I have to have a couple different mics on for recording, so I'm recording separate channels. So normally you would just be getting it from the one mic, but now you're actually getting overhead mic, the one mic, and that one over there, so I get separates. Hey Arthur, what's up?
I'm done with the salads.
You're done?
Yeah.
No, you're not done.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not done.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not done.
Yes, I am. I started.
Alright, then set a timer for 40 minutes and work on your typing.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, so I left it. Actually, let's do it this way. Let me just wrap around it. Maybe not have a mark line here. This one. Maybe. There we go. Now, let's cut ourselves some dovetails. Yay, everybody's favorite dovetails. Oh, ooh. Danger. Grab onto some dovetails. Yeah, usually this feed is just for patrons, and it's just kind of like a behind-the-scenes thing as I do work. But this one's a little bit different, so let's do this. Actually, I think I'm going to do this just for to simplify it. Just eyeballing the dovetails. Do that on all four ends. What brand of saw is that? That is one from Bearcat Woodworking. Good luck getting one. Actually, I think he has a string now. He's taking orders at the moment, but usually he opens up orders for it, and like a day or two later they're full. And then you gotta wait another year or so until he makes more of them. But it is, in my opinion, one of the best saws on the market, if it is on the market. Just because he actually will cut them to fit your hand. Not putting any pressure on the saw at all, just letting the saw do the work. Even taking a little bit of pressure off the saw. Just like that. Let's show that. Let's bring this camera over here. Yeah, no, there's actually a tracker, so I get to see how much work they've actually done and follow their progress. So if I wanted there, I could actually go and mirror his computer and see all the work he has on it. Have you ever tried Rob Cosman's saws? I have tried them. They are very good saws. They are very, very good saws. Yeah, the actual saw, the cutting piece, the blade, as long as it's sharp, it's a good saw. That's not what's important. What makes it a good saw? The thing that makes it a good saw is when you pick it up, does it feel good? Does it conform to your hand? Is it something that gives you control? Is it something that you can hold between your index finger and the back of your hand and still have control back there? Is it something that when you pick it up, you feel like you're using a good quality saw? That's what makes a saw better than other saws. In the hands of a master, any junk saw can make good cuts. It's not about the saw and how well the cut is. It's about how does it make you feel. And that's what makes a saw valuable. There are lots of other bells and whistles that come into them, but it's not as important as how it feels in your hand. Okay, focus in here. Set that on. Nice clean joint. Put this one back in. And let's go over onto you. And just like that, we got ourselves a dovetail. That looks pretty. Cool. Now let's do that 3 more times. Yep, there's something about a saw. If it feels good in your hand, you will do better work. That goes with a lot of hand tools. The better you feel about your tools, the more you're driven to do better work. The more you're pushed to stop and think about it because you're using something good. You want what comes out of it to be worthy of what you're using. Just one of those mental games. either. Interesting. And for those of you who are patrons or members, there's a very good chance that tomorrow I will also be on making the slides for the doors. So that one will probably not accidentally be public like this one was. Okay. So I usually do most of my shop work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I try and get all the footage for the next week's video. There we go. Now the fun part. Now let's transfer tails into pins. So, top and Sarah top. Let's grab top. And this one needs to be James and Sarah, so we can separate these out by that much. So that one goes on there, and that one goes on there. And as long as they don't bump them, I should be able to get perfect marks of exactly where they go. There. I'm going to mark this end and then shoot that video on that side. So, pressure down. Right there. And the ones on the back legs will basically be half-lined versions of the same thing. There. There's my dovetails. So I'm going to remove this, and I want to remove this. Stop that. Any messages on here? Cool. Hey, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in there. I will look up and answer as much as I can. It's a very laid-back setting. I'm just working the shop, so. But if it works for you, right? Hey. So let me make sure I've got this right. Come down a little ways. Come down a little ways. Down a little ways. Down a little ways. And you. We're going to set, make sure that's the same thickness it should be. Yes, it is. A depth cut line. And a depth cut line. Now let's shoot the footage on marking that one. Pull that battery back up. We're working here. Change the camera angle. Okay, now let's go about cutting these. Set this down lower. Doesn't my back look gorgeous? My back is one of the most amazing backs out there. Bring my moxon vise out so I'm not bending over on this. It'll make it a little bit easier. But that's setting up a moxon vise. Nah. We only have a couple of these to cut. Ooh, that's all fine. Let's bring it back online. That. Now, let's grab it and hold fast. Let's hold it fast. Not slow, but fast. So is anyone else planning on watching the rocket launch live tonight? I guess this afternoon? I'm getting excited for that. Let's use that one. I guess use this one. I'm a bit of a space nerd. Make sure I record the next one because I forgot to record this one. Yeah, let's back that up. Let's do it this way. close to the line as we can without actually getting onto the line. And then we'll go right into that line. Aim up just a hair. Man, I love these chisels. So glad I switched. I mean, don't get me wrong, my old chisels are good, but these are far more enjoyable. Now the question, does it fit? Let's find out. This one is Sarah top. So let's grab top Sarah. It should. Hot dog. I'll take that any day. Let me show you. A little bit of a gap. Maybe better once it tightens down. But focus on this. There we go. So there is dovetail number 1. You can see there's a gap right here, but that's just when I need to squeeze this down on. Yeah, that makes me happy. Now I gotta do 3 more on these, and then 4 more on the others. Yay! Alright, any questions on this thing? Whoa, there's been a lot of chat. Yeah, we were supposed to be in. We were actually supposed to be in Cape Canaveral today, but due to the whole coronavirus, we weren't. So I was really expecting and hoping to be down there for the launch, but that didn't happen. So I'm here. So I probably will not be live when it is launching because I want to go watch it. But won't be able to see it from where I'm at. Which is sad, but oh well. Such is life. Such is life. Get over it, James. Get over it. How high is my bench? My bench is 38 inches. I am 6'1", and 38 inches is on the high side, even for my height. That's where I like it. I tell people when choosing how high to make your bench, grab a board, a plane, and go around the house and set it on different things. Set it on the kitchen table, set it on the countertop, set it on the washer, set it on the dryer, set it on your end tables. Find the different heights and see what feels comfortable to you. And from that, you can find what works for you because everyone's different. Everyone likes something different. Shannon Rogers, who is even taller than me, has a shorter bench than I do. And that's why one of his first builds was making a joinery bench, which was much higher, because this is kind of like the in-between. It's okay for joinery, and it's okay for planing. It's kind of like that halfway in between. Planing, I would generally like it to be a little bit lower, and joinery, I like it to be a little bit higher. I don't have the space to build another joinery bench in here. And so if I'm going to be doing a lot of joinery, I generally pull out the Moxon vise. So the counter over here. Exit. Any advice for workbench for small spaces? A smaller workbench? You can make the workbench fit just about any space. I'm thinking about making a bench sometime in the future. It's a bench on bench, and so it's like 18 inches by 20 inches with a face vise on it, but something that I could then take and mount to a countertop in a kitchen or a table, and I can do it just about anywhere. Thought that'd be kind of fun to make. We'll see what the future holds. Got lots of other projects on my list. Before that, though, we'll see. Almost there. Set the camera back up. The kids bench, no. That's just a standard Roubeau, just with shorter legs, basically. So I really didn't make any plans for that one back then. fitting this in this time. Let's see how this one goes. This is James' top. And let's go with top James. So this one needs to go this way. Yep. So record. And that's what I'm looking for. That one's even prettier. I'll take that one any day of the week. Okay. There's two. Actually, I can go ahead and lock these in. That is the top of the drawers. So the first drawer will be sliding in right underneath this. And this will go right up against the underside of the desk. Now, do the same thing all over again. So I need shooting more footage of this because I've gotten into that one. So we now have this and this. These are bottom. So we have Sarah and James. These on here. Line them up with the lines. Make it a marks. Make it a marks. Same thing on this one. All of your joinery is only as accurate as the marks you make. If you spend the time on making very accurate marks, then you will have very accurate joinery. But if you do not spend the time making very accurate marks, then you will have a very low chance of making accurate joinery. Cleaning off little bits of tape. Let's see if there's any questions here. Yeah, make a, if you want to sit down, you can make a stool. There's a lot of plans out there for swing out stools that actually like hide underneath the bench. I have one that I just keep over here and sit on occasionally. If you're going to be sitting and doing woodworking, you're probably going to want to make the bench a little lower. But I actually, if I'm doing tedious work or particularly carving, sitting is something I do quite a bit. There are a lot of people out there who just can't stand that long. And sitting works very well for that. loosen the grip. Quit tightening down on it, James. Quit tightening down on it. Cut. I keep thinking about the HMS Victory when I was in England. The joinery on that and some of those old ships are just incredible. It's such a huge, huge ship like that. To actually have that kind of joinery was beyond phenomenal. Now that's chop chop. Boom chop chop ha 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 ha. Boom chop chop ha 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 ha. Now let's see. James, do you envision the portable bench as a twin screw Moxon vise? For the Moravian bench I want to make, I'm probably going to have an end vise on it very similar to this. And I'm probably going to have one leg vise, and I'd actually like to make it angled leg vise. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But we'll see. That has been bumped down the list a little ways. I'm working on a workbench with all riffs on southern yellow pine. I know the orientation of the grain so that the top is horizontal quarter sawn, but how should I orient the bottom? Honestly, with pine, the orientation of the grain is not going to make any difference. Yeah, there are maybe the slightest bit that will be for the perfectionist out there, but honestly, don't worry about it. It really doesn't make that much difference. I made my my first one out of 2x4s, a Douglas fir, and some of them had the pith going right through the middle of the 2x4. Some of them were off to the side, flat sawn. Some of them were riffs on. They were all over the size and all different types and all different directions, and there wasn't any movement that would make any difference at all on that. So don't worry about it too much. Cool. Now tap tap. And Arthur's done. There's his timer. Arthur, stop your timer.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, Melly.
I'm
You done?
finished with the cells and typing. Arthur's finished with both of them also.
Wait, Arthur, go stop your timing. I will check your work in a little while.
Okay.
You can go play it.
Woohoo, let's go play. Hey.
One of them is excited because he had an exam today. If anyone gets 100% on an exam, they get $1. And that's big money to them. So they're always excited for me to check their work if they've had an exam, because they can't always tell their grade right after the exam.
Can I play Zelda?
Yep, you can play Zelda. My oldest son is the gamer in the group. He's very, very good at gaming, but he can't stay on any one game longer than an hour. Even if he absolutely loves it, it's not his thing. He can't focus that long. But then my youngest isn't much of a gamer, but he's gotten into Zelda recently, and he is totally locked into it. He will play it all day long if I let him without stopping. Okay, let's go right into that line now. They're excited because their new wetsuits should be coming in later today. And that means they can play in the pool longer. I'm hoping we can do some snorkeling this summer. Although I might see when my daughter's about to turn 10, she might actually be interested in, well, she wants to, whether or not I let her get into open water diving. We will see. Nice. That was a little bit gappy, but not a problem. A lot of people ask me, how do you hide gaps? I don't. I really don't like hiding gaps. I like to show them off. Generally doesn't hurt their effectiveness or their functionality. And I like showing people that everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has problems. And so if you come over and look at my joinery, you'll see gaps. I like to leave it that way. I don't like to try and hide things and make them things they aren't. Because everyone out there makes gaps from time to time. Unless your name is Frank Klaus. Some more questions here. Any wood on your card scrapers back in stock? Oh, any word on the card scrapers? No, I'm still waiting on DFM Toolworks. He's trying to get them in right now, but with everything going on, getting the stock is more difficult. But yeah, I don't have any card scrapers back in stock. When I do, I'll put a thing on the Hive Mind telling people they're back. I'm almost out of strops, and so I'm trying to get more leather for that. We will see when that comes in, if it comes in. Denim shorts are back in style? Denim shorts never left style. Denim shorts are always in style. Just above the line. Just above the line. much a good sharp chisel will do. Even in white oak. This one is bottom of James. Bottom of James. Maybe this one. It goes this way. Okay, there we go. Juice like that. There's the bottom of the drawers. So this one will go on the floor, and this one will go above it, and then all the drawers will be spaced in between them. Now I'm going to put the diagonal stretchers on the back that go between the legs. So for that, we need to actually figure out where they will fit. First, I'm going to shoot a video clip of this. Just like that. Happy prettiness. Okay, now I gotta think through exactly how I want to do this. Clean this up a little bit. The bench starts to get cluttered. Plug them all out in there anyway. These. Let's see, any questions on here? Which is better, sanding or smoothing, smooth planing, scraping? They each have their pros and cons. I did a video a while ago about the differences between sanding and smoothing and showing them off. And I'm thinking I'm going to redo that one again sometime. With sanding, you will actually get a slightly deeper penetration from an oil finish due to the wicking capability of the pores being clogged with dust. It's a little counterintuitive that if you clog the pores with dust, that will actually draw the oil in further due to capillary action. That being said, you're also going to be getting a much more pronounced tone difference. So if you are going to be doing ray figure oak and you want those rays to pop out, then sanding is very good for that, because it will give you better contrast. In places where the oil can go down deeper, it will go down deeper. However, planing will give you a noticeably smoother surface. However, it will not feel smoother because the sanding will actually clog the pores and they'll flatten it down. They'll actually raise up the low spots in that they're filled with sawdust then. So it's really 6 of one, half dozen another in what you're looking for. Each of them have their pros and cons. Each of them have their uses. If you're going in highly figured wood, scraping is great, but sanding is always going to give you a faster to clean finish. But then you're going to get the sanding dust in there, and so whether or not you want that is something very different. So yeah, and vacuuming won't pull the sawdust out of the holes. Tacky cloth won't pull it out. If you sand it, you're clogging the holes. So it's kind of one of those things you gotta play with. So hope that answered your question. This. Okay, cool. Let's actually build this structure up. So I want to find out what is the distance between those. But first, let's do this. Make sure those are exactly where I want them. Yes. And if anything, I want them to be like this one. So top, yes. So we need those to be this distance apart. So theoretically, this should fit in here perfectly, just like that. And that then becomes our spacing from mark to mark. So let's do that. So let's shoot this video footage. So you know where the shoulders are on these before I can draw the next thing. Shoot back this up a little better. Get a wider angle on this. Theoretically, that should fit right down in there. Let's actually do it this way. Move the camera so you can see the marks being made then. And yes, I do talk to myself a lot, even when you guys aren't here. Small mark here. Small mark here. Do the same thing with this one. So we get the exact same spacing between these. Small mark here. Small mark here. I need the foot anymore. Now I have marks on here. Let's transfer those all the way around. Those are our baseline marks. Then, let's actually show doing that. Perfect. Same thing with that one. Okay, Google, broadcast melody. Can you bring me a glass of water? There we go. So, now he needs to cut some dovetails. And this is going to seem really familiar. Done this before, something like that, right? That and that. Let's see any other questions on here. Yay, launch is coming along. So wishing I could be there for it. such is life. Such is life.
Here's a glass of bubble, Dad.
Oh, thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Mel. You can go play.
I got a new tower.
A new tower?
Yeah.
Nice.
I got another tower. Another tower.
Ah. Water. It's good. As long as it doesn't go in the lungs. Go out the door. You good? Ah. Okay. Back to work.
It's a tower covered in gum without the guardians. And you know what? I didn't even have to shoot one of the eyeballs.
Nice work. Arthur, close the door all the way. Push it until it clicks. He didn't even have to shoot one of the eyeballs. Oh, I've been recording this whole time. Nice. Let's actually start that again. Sorry, Luke. Actually, no. Let's do. So a different angle now. Still haven't if you want to work marking knife, you were emailed or notified in your comment. I listed them on the live that I had last week. So a week ago from yesterday, the live on the second channel is where I announced the winners. So if you won, you got a notification. Cool. Yeah, I don't make winner announcement videos because if I make an entire video to announce the winners, then it ends up making a couple people happy and a whole lot of people not happy, and it doesn't make for a good video. So I usually put them into the next live, but winners get notified by email or comment. This one, and these are actually going to be half-blind dovetails sunk into the sides of the legs. That should make them a little bit interesting. cuts. So let's do these ones. Let's see, any other questions? Working in the drawers, yep. Dresser drawers. This was supposed to be a private hangout for patrons and members, but I accidentally hit the public button, so everyone gets in on it this time. So I usually do these once a week or every other week or so, or whenever I'm working in the shop for an extended amount of time. So you guys get the fun benefit of being patrons for a day. Or one of the benefits. Come over here. And it goes up a bit. It's always some shmoo in the corners. Always some shmoo in the corners. Ooh, that'd be a fun shot. Let's try that one. Right, playing with the camera from time to time and getting fun and interesting shots. Hey Luke, can you do a fade between that last clip and this one? And that way I can see going from one to the other. One more done. Which chisels are those? Are they the new ones? Yes, the Nerix Richter Happiness. I'm still blown away by it. Like this one, my 3/4 inch, one that I use quite a bit. I got it out of the box and I have not sharpened it. It is straight out of the box, and that's been almost a month, and I still haven't sharpened it. And it's not 100% sharp, but it's still really close. I mean, I'm still getting really, really fine shavings off of this. I'm seriously impressed with these chisels. When I went to test them, I thought, wow, this is kind of gimmicky, you know, just a different tempering method. I was blown away by it. I'm usually anti-gimmick or anti-newfangled. This is one of the times where newfangled made me very, very happy. So we have it. I'm actually seeing with this 3/4 inch how long I can use it without sharpening it and still feel okay about it. So it'll be interesting to try. boards with dovetails on them. Now we got to make the pins. In this case, they're half blind. Ooh. No, I've had a lot of people talking to me about the drawers and saying I shouldn't do show tails, I should do half blind or something of that nature. And you know, I'm thinking I'm going to reconsider that now that you can actually see the tails from the sides. I think I might do half blind on them, but I might still do like brass pins through the front just to show it. We'll see. What do you do with all your shavings? I throw them in the trash. I used to save them to use for one thing or another, and occasionally they'll come out for a project, but I use way more shavings than I could ever use. If I had chicken coop, I'd probably throw them in there, but I have no need for all the shavings, so they go in the trash. Yeah, if I had a fire stove or an oven, I would use them quite a bit for that. They make fantastic starting. Cool. All right, let's do these. So this is Sarah back, except I want to do it this way. So I'm going to look at it from the back and the top. So Sarah back, James back. And then on this one we have top and bottom. So now I need to actually lay out where all of these match up and sink into the legs. So put the weight on it. Make sure to hit the microphone. There. Here come the horde of elephants.
Daddy,
Yes, Melody?
can I please go outside?
Yeah, you can play in the backyard. Not in the pool.
Okay.
Go play, Mel. Melody, close the door. All the way until you hear the click. Melody, all the way. Down. And there's that one. Oh, fart. Well, I put this one upside down, so that means we're going to peel this off. And we'll rotate the sticker around so I know which way it goes. Oops. At least I didn't do it before the joinery was in there. Let's do the same thing on this one. What's that knife in your pocket? I have a couple different daily carries that I mess with. And this one is a cheapo from Menards. It's just a utility knife. And I really like it. I use this one probably more than any of the others. But I like it because it's much thinner than other ones, and so it slides into the pocket nicely. I have several that I have from Kearshaw that I really, really like. But there's just something about the utility blade that I use far more than anything else. So this is probably my most common everyday carry, though from time to time I do put on some of my Kearshaws when I really want to feel nice, because they are pretty. They're very pretty. Very, very sharp. Any other questions? No, I used to use a Stanley razor blade as my marking knife. And the more I used it, the more I just didn't like it. It didn't feel very good. And so I don't use that anymore. Actually, I gave it away to a friend who wanted to try it. So close. Quality of your marking is the baseline for the quality of your joinery. If it ain't good, your joinery won't be either. Okay, now we need to cut these out. Half-blind dovetails. Yay! Ah, I need to mark these first. Never mind. We gotta do the marking before we cut out. And here. There it is. So. I need my marking gauge. Make sure its thickness is set. Yeah, I got my the ebony scraps from a friend like 4 or 5 years ago. He had a couple of scraps he sent me, and I've been using them for inlays here and there as they needed. Yeah, I have no air filtration in my shop, and as long as I'm just using hand tools, I don't wear a respirator or anything like that. There just isn't any dust that's big enough to float around. There's a reason that sawdust is called sawdust. When the router makes sawdust and the planer makes sawdust and all the tools and the sanders make sawdust, every tool in the shop makes sawdust. But why do they call it sawdust rather than sanding dust and joiner dust and things like that? It's called sawdust because it used to be with hand tools. The only tool that made sawdust was a saw. Everything else made curls and chips. And curls and chips don't float. And the sawdust that comes out from a handsaw is much, much heavier, coarser, and falls very quickly. So there really is no need for filtration in the shop. I have thought about getting it for the times that I do use power sanding, but most of the time I take that outside because they're usually just personal projects where I'm building something around the house. I need to do something quickly. But yeah, most of the time it's not that. So I don't have any filtration in here. Mark once, cut twice, and it's still too short. I can't figure out why is it still too short. That one. Same on this one. Anyone else in here do diving? Looking at a trip in February to Cozumel, and looking for a good dive shop with a fast boat. I don't want one of those big ones with 100 people on them. So if anyone has any good recommendations, let me know. Okay, now we cut. This here, I want to focus on you. Grab my saw. That's all we can cut. Unfortunately, I can't use the card scraper trick because we're going cross grain on this one. Just like that. We're going to do that on all of them, and then we'll remove the waste. Is there a wood you wish to work with but couldn't get your hands on? Not really. Most of the things that I've wanted to play with I've been able to get. But there isn't too much that's like, ooh, yeah, I really want to try that. Yeah, the dovetail saw I have here is a little bit larger. It's a 16 PPI, and I know a lot of dovetails people really like something finer, like a 20 PPI. I really haven't found much of a need. Well, also the thing you're hearing is the vibration of the board. The board is kind of wobbling around because it's out in the end here, and so because of that, it makes it sound louder. Almost as loud as my kids running above me. That was one of the things I asked for when he made mine, is I want 16 PPI, I don't want 20, I want 24. Actually, I talked to one guy who had a 30 PPI saw. I was like, that's gotta be... fun part. Let's clean this sucker out. I'm going to do one of them without recording. So this is always a fun one to get back into the swing of. Not sure why, but this really drives a lot of people crazy when I chop in my vise. And it does take out a little bit of the force, but not much. If the chisel's sharp, you really won't notice much difference in the actual feel. This is the fun part. I can do this all day long. Really focus in on this chopping and cleaning. This is fun. Before we go any farther, I'm going to actually do a test on this one. This is James Bottom. Bottom, James. Haha, dog. I'll take that any day of the week. Alright, so let me see if there's any questions. Yeah, chiseling's about the loudest thing in the whole hand tool work. I used to live in a townhouse, and that was the house that I gave up all my woodworking in. because that was not going to be functional. But then we bought this place. Made me very happy. Out of there. There it goes. About an eighth of an inch or so at one end, about 1/16 of an inch or so at the other end. To go still. So getting close. Too much of a bite. Back up a little bit. There we go. Time to go right in the marker gauge line then. Yep. Slice my knuckle. Okay, now the moment of truth. This one was bottom, James. So let's see, how does this go in? That's right about where I like it. Gotta take out a little bit of the back here. Yes?
I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Cool, go play. Good job, bud. Sure enough, take out a little bit back here. Just a little bit. Okay, what's it just checking with that? Just try it one more time. Hot dog. I'll take that one in the back. So, there's our back stretcher. Okay, we'll connect the two legs together and we're going to put another one up here. So I think the next one I'm going to video. Let's take this one apart. So, set this in here. See any questions? Yeah, small shops really make you inventive. If you have a workbench by the wall and corner as right-handed, would you place it? I would put the left end of the bench into the corner because I'm right-handed, so I work on this corner of the bench. But that being said, Paul Sellers is right-handed, and he works on that end of the bench. So there is no right or wrong. It just depends on which end is your main vise on, and you want your main vise to be away from the wall. But yeah, it depends on your personal woodworking type, because there is no exact right hand, left hand. Less right-handers work on this end of the bench. Most right-handed people work on that end of the bench. I'm just a little bit different, and really doesn't matter that much. So, hope that answers your question. Okay, let's set up some videos on this. I'm going to do this one and video this whole process. So. What, Arthur?
I didn't just get
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get the one over by the birds?
Oh yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. Close the door all the way. Till you hear the click.
Another quest.
Exit. Let's do the initial test fit. This is James top. Yeah, that's looking where I want it to go. Oop. Initial test fit. Yeah. That's where I want it to go. Let's do this on this way. When the kids were napping, this is the one thing I couldn't do. I'm glad we're done with naps now. Let's see, any more new comments? For benches, I'm usually only using about 2 foot by 2 foot of my bench. That's the space that I need for most things, and that's really all you really need. I'm going to have to stop this when I'm done with this joint. So I got to go feed the kids lunch. So if anyone has any questions, anything they want to see, go ahead and post them up and I'll take a look. And I can only see the last few comments. So if something is buried, go ahead and repost it. Okay, this is James' top. Perfect. So, let me see what questions we have, and then I'm probably going to wrap this up. Well, I will make it easier for Daniel. I'm going to hop off here because I'm going to go watch it live myself. Doesn't scraping with the chisel like that dull it? Yes, but so does all woodworking that dulls it. And I've got chisels over there, so I got plates over there so I can sharpen it. That's one of the things I'm actually testing with these right now is I'm really just putting them through the ringer and I'm doing all sorts of things. I dropped my 1.5 inches on concrete yesterday, or Saturday. Not intentionally, on accident, but then I used it for the next while seeing how it did, and I'm still really impressed. So yes, using it as a scraper is going to dull it a little bit, but not that much. Yeah, if you want to see a really, really small word shop, then look at Barbie Woodworker. I'm actually going to do I'm going to make a Roubeau style frame saw for her here soon. So it'll be a Barbie-sized Roubeau style frame saw. Fun. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I think I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to go make some food for the kids, and then I'm going to go watch the live. And for those of you who are on Patreon, I will probably be coming back live to finish this up, and we'll be putting in the drawer slides tonight and tomorrow. So stay tuned. See you later. Now I got to go over here and find the button. You want lunch, Arthur?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah? Where'd you do now in Zelda?
I need help with this shrine.
Are you having problems with the shrine? Yeah. Maybe I'll come help you in a bit. Okay, let's see. Where is the buttons? Well, we're going to have lunch in a little bit. So, cool. Well, see you all later. Have fun. Yeah, John, that's the one I'm recording out of. The one you're seeing out of is just one so you guys can see. The one I'm adjusting is the one I'm actually recording footage for Saturday. Cool. See you all later. Bye.